How you guys doing? Bigrich here with Ohio Fish Rescue, and today we're going to show you how we make our bubble walls for as big a tank as you want. We've got them in all kinds of tanks, so stick around and watch and see how we do it. All right, first thing you need to do is you got to go to your local pet store, and what we do is we buy these hard tubing. They look like air hose. It's 3/16 line, and it's hard, you know. So they're about 3 foot long. These ones we went to Something Fishy. It's a local pet store here that we back and stand behind. Dave Hale's the owner, great guy. It was actually closed, but we called Dave, and he said he'd run up to the store with us and meet us there, and sell them to us. I was like, that's awesome. Then when Josh gets there, he buys 18 of them. And Dave won't take no money. He gave it to us. He says, you do your project. And, he's just given to the rescue. So, guys, check out Dave Hale at Something Fishy. Now, as we go on, you only need, you're doing a 3 foot tank. You only need 2 of these. One for the tube going down, and then one for the tube going across the back. So, we're doing the Bellagio tanks. We have a bunch of these. I take a magic marker, and you'll understand this in a minute. But I take a whole length of the tubing and I hold it against here and I pull it through, so I've got one black line all the way down the tube. Now, the reason for that is, if you start melting holes through this, you might get to the end and you've got holes on the top over here, but these holes are now pointing down because you weren't paying attention. Problem is, air will only come out the ones pointing up first, so you'll have gaps between your air bubbles. So I put a magic marker line straight down it. So wherever I put in the holes, we know this is pointing up. Now, what I do for all smaller tanks, I take a tape measure and I measure every 1 inch. Like our 80 gallon, the Abazin, you get the whole back walls, bubble wall, the 150 gallon, the whole back walls, bubble wall, I still do 1 inch on them. So you take a tape measure and you put a cross at every 1 inch. There. So now you've got, a cross line. Every cross is where you're going to melt the hole into it. So let's move on to step 2. You're going to need a torch. This is an easy start. There it goes. It's easy on. So torch. You're going to need some pins. Regular laundry pins. I don't know if you can get it close to that. Pins work good. Okay. For making any bends, I don't know if you know what tie wire is. It's real bendable wire, real easily bent. And I'll teach you why after that. You're going to need a pair of cutters. And then the most important thing, you're going to need something to hold your pin to get it red hot. I use needle nose vice grips. All right, so now I've got all 7. We need 7 for a 20-foot tank. They're 3 foot piece. So you put them together, that's 21 foot. I've got all of them marked. What I'm going to do now is put them next to my tape measure, and we're going to do these ones a little different. Because we're doing a 20 foot long tank, you'd have to need a really hefty air pump to get a bubble wall that long. So what we're going to do is put a hole every 6 inches or so. So let's go with here. We're just making a little cross. And then on 30 inches. Okay. Okay, so that's every 6 inches. Now that's going to give us a bubble wall every 6 inches on a 20 foot long tank. That's going to look like a lot. We don't need every inch, bubbles coming up this close together. So we're going to have them this close together on the 20 foot length. It's going to look nice. So now I'll go ahead and mark these off camera, but let's go ahead and show you how I do these. We take a pin and try and keep all the holes the same size. All right. Okay, now
show you what that looks like.
Oh, sorry.
You can see he's just grabbing the middle of the needle just so he can go down and...
I just need the tip to get hot and poke into the holes. So Josh, if you want to set the camera down right here, and thank you for helping me video today. I'm gonna have you hold the torch on. You always need a buddy to help you with this one. Now, can you see my pliers here? Okay. Oh, don't point that towards me. Okay. And you just hold it in until it gets red hot.
You can't see that.
What?
You can't see that on camera. You just moved it.
Okay.
Let me pan this back.
Can't see if I'm in the flame. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to get 2 holes per getting the needle hot. Okay, we lost Joshy, so I'm going to continue doing this myself. Show you just how easy it is. Nice and red hot. Poke it through. Move to the next hole. Poke it through. Okay, so we got 1 done. Now, what I like to do is measure from where these holes are. So that's about a 1/2 inch from the end. So the end, let's say that was 30 right there. So let's start with the first mark. 36 here. So now that'll be 6 inches apart between the two. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to mark all these. 6, 12, 18, where's the line? 24, 30, and 36 is on the end. Perfect. Okay. Now let's do this next one. All right, not hot enough. You can always suck air through to see if it went all the way through. We got 1 more hole to make on this one. Yes, it looks tedious, and it kind of is. But if you just use your time wisely, you get it done in no time. So there's 2 done. It's that easy. We've got all the holes in, every 6 inches apart for the whole 20 foot. And now the next thing we're going to do is make the bend for the end. So I use tie wire. It's bendable wire. You've seen what it is. You just take a long piece of it, however long you need it to go. And what I did was I marked off where I wanted my bend. so that the 20-foot ends right here at this. Now I'm just going to stuff this inside of here. Now basically I have wire inside where I'm going to bend. Now to do this, I'm going to make a 90-degree bend on here. Where is the holes at? Right here, so we want that straight down. Okay. I'm just going to heat up the plastic a little bit. And then I'm going to try bending it. And the tie wire inside is going to hold the bend for you. So now at the 90-degree bend, we'll sort of, I can bend this one straight and bend this one down a little more. There's a 90-degree bend. Now we let that dry, let it cool off, and it'll hold its shape itself. And then I take the wire and I pull it out because it's bendable. Now, see how it's got its own shape now? No matter which way I turn it, it's got its shape. I can put this down in the tank, silicone it in, silicone it to the side, and then I put another piece up as tall as the tank is. And this starts your bubble wall. And I got one more to build for the other side. And we're getting it together. And see how easy this is? Very simple. Okay, so now that we got that corner done, let's do the other corner. I'm going to go ahead and put this metal inside of the tubing. And I measured and seen what I needed, and this one's a real short piece. So we just measure the inside length of the fish tank, and I marked where the 90-degree bend has to go. So I'm going to go ahead and do this and bend this up. Okay, I'll pull this wire out now. Oh, let me grab hold of it. Okay, so now we got the 90 and we're all done. All of our pieces are done. Let's go ahead and take these out to the tank and start installing them. This is where the fun begins. Now that we've finished making that bubble wall, I'm not going to go and show you how to put it in the Bellagio right now because that's part of the Bellagio tank builds in Josh's videos. So I'm going to show you a couple of the bubble walls we've made. Okay, this is the 150-gallon tank. And you can see bubble wall all the way across the back there. Now, this one was every inch, but it's like 3 years old, so it's clogging up with dirt. And how I do that is I clean it. I take the hoses off that's going to the air pump, and I put it into a 5-gallon bucket, and I let water run through backwards and overflow out of the tank and fill up the bucket. You know, after that, I go ahead and bring the hoses up, hook them back to the air pump, and it blows through, and all the holes are cleared out. Then it'll be like this again, all the way across the whole back. You can see every inch. That tube's an inch wide. Inch, 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 inch. And it's really nice. And it sparkles and makes the whole tank look nice. Let me give you a whole view of the tank. Now you can see the bubble walls when they was all the way across. That's one. Let me go show you another one. Okay, now this is that 500-gallon cube tank. We got it sitting here, but we haven't filled it yet because we brought it into, you know, the pool room and all this. But I'm going to show you how we did it. See, there's a little bit of silicone on the wall there. There's the tube going all the way down. Here's the tube going across the back. It's siliconed in like about an inch in from each corner, and then in the middle, and then it goes up this side. And we run it to the air. This whole thing is a nice, long, straight bubble wall at the back. And I want to do the same thing to this 700 and this 1000 here, because they're going to be, you know, in this room here competing with, you know, this jungled out pond, which there's no competing with. That's just awesome. So if I have these tanks all lit up nicely and, you know, bubbles coming up the back, it would look really nice. So we're going to do that next. All right, there is the end piece. Here is the next piece. Here's the next piece. You see where they connect together with little pieces of silicone, airline tubing. Here's the next piece. All the way down. This one connects to that. Whoop. This one connects there, and they overlap it right about there. There's the next one. All the way to this one here, which is the next end piece. So that's what we got done now. We're getting ready to put it in, but we got someone who wants to talk to you here.
All right, guys, so my dad did the bubble wall. He spent a couple hours of the day making that. You guys just seen the how-to video. So next up on the chopping block, which will be continued in the Bellagio series of getting these tanks up and running. So what we have to do is take these coral inserts, move them to the front, and then you have to go and take all that gravel that we just dumped in there and move it out probably about 3 inches. And then we're going to take some aquarium sealant, and then we are going to silicone the bubble wall to the wall. Now I'm probably going to do every
Well, not
6
to the
foot.
wall, but to the corner.
Yeah, so we're probably going to do every 6 foot, and in the bottom corner I put a dab of silicone down, put the bubble wall in it, and then I connect it over the top. So it's encapsulated in a silicone, you know, just a boot basically. And then once you put the elbows up the wall, you want to do the same thing to the wall right here. You put a little glob in the corner, put the air line in there, and then connect it so it has a boot in the corner, holding it to each corner all the way across the bottom too. Now you guys might say that, oh, there's aquarium gravel in there, so you don't need to, you know, silicone it down. That's probably true, but on the, you know, once in a million chance that it, you know, pops away and the airline comes up, and you have to then get in there and, you know, take your stuff away, put it back down, put the gravel back, put the coral inserts back, and we would not want to do that. So we're just doing basically a redundancy so we can not do that in the future, save ourselves a hassle years down the line.
And also the fish that move the gravel, like cichlids that we're putting in here, they move the gravel and then the airline comes up. Look how much trouble we've had in that 1,000-gallon having to go back in and re-silicone it. So yeah, it's a good idea to silicone it down. It's an extra step. It is redundancy, like he says, but it makes your life easier in the long run.
I don't really know how much, because these are a lot larger gravel, so we might not have that, but like my dad said, you'd rather do it and not need it than put the cichlids in there and they start digging out nests and they're popping up that bubble wall all the way across the back, and now you have to crawl in there and fix it. I don't want to do that.
Okay, so now you'll get to see the bubble wall installed in the tank on Josh's next video, which will be the Bellagio continuation. And you'll see water in it. So this next video is going to be big. This next video is going to actually go after my video here of the bubble wall being made. Hope you guys learned something from it. Hope you guys can, you know, help your own tanks out and you see how nice they look. And you know, bubble walls, in our situation, what we're doing here, this whole tank is a lot of water. If, let's say we put in 4,000 gallons an hour into here, coming in this way and overflowing out on that side, there's a lot of stagnant area down here. What the bubble wall is going to do for us, and why I said we had to have it, as the bubbles rise, they move the water with it. So the whole back wall rising, eventually all this water is going to churn. And no debris will settle at the bottom. It'll stay in the water column where our filters can clean them out. And that's what we need. Another thing is, we don't want to have to clean this gravel ever. We don't ever want to have to gravel clean. We are going to get ourselves a couple baby giraffe cats and put them in there, and they will constantly sift that sand nonstop and can go in with the cichlids, you know, up until they get about, what, 18 inches?
Yeah, but they make dwarf draft cats that we can probably put in there, and they only get about 12 inches. Do the same thing, and we'll be able to live.
Right. Well, I'm saying the 18-inch draft cats might suck up babies. That's all. So that at that point we'd have to pull them out. But they're the best gravel cleaners we found. In our 4,000, you guys have seen it many times. There's gravel in there. We have never once cleaned that gravel. you can get in there. You've seen Josh get in there many times, and he moves the gravel over to cover where there's no gravel, and there's not even a dust storm from it. It's clean gravel. So giraffe cats and Nigers, ripsaw cats, they do the same thing. So yeah, that's what we're going to do for the bottom, and the bubble wall is going to help keep it clean. Everything is geared towards less maintenance. So with the bubble wall, with the Niger cats, we shouldn't have to clean anything out inside there. And with the right lighting, we shouldn't have to deal with any algae problems and cleaning the glass constantly. We will see, what I would normally do is fill the whole tank up with plants in the back, but you can't do that with cichlids. They will constantly uproot them and stuff like that. The more plants you have, the less algae you have. They're eating the nutrients that the algae needs to survive on your glass. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and do it this way. So be sure, you know, after you're done watching this, watch Josh's next video on the Bellagio series, because he's been working his butt off on them. And you know, if you like our videos, like, comment, and, you know, subscribe. And as always, stay fishy, my friends.